pretty sure.
Yeah!
Oh, gotta get their fast shot.
Yeah!
Gotta get their fast shot! There it is.
Hello Britball Nation, I'm Nick Wilson-Tower, Editor-in-Chief here at DoubleCoverage.com, and welcome to the Power Rankings following Week 6 of the BAFA Adult National Leagues. A great weekend of balling saw some big scorelines and even bigger ramifications, so let's take a look at how this has all affected the rankings. But before we jump in, remember that you too can do your bit to grow the game by assisting DC in reaching as wide an audience as possible. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, share our vids and posts on Facebook and retweet them on Twitter. It might not seem like much, but it really helps us out in growing the number of people we can promote the British game to, which is ultimately what we're all about here at DC. Now let's see those rankings. Before we jump into the rankings proper, we need to stress that as the season progresses, these rankings get harder and harder, particularly in Division 2 where we have more teams to consider than in any other tier, and particularly in the past couple of weeks where a number of teams in each conference have begun to emerge as clear contenders. With a good number of teams having promising undefeated seasons so far this year, it's increasingly tough to pick between them. This week we're going to see teams who have had strong weeks themselves dropping simply because our Bafana team considered others to have had even stronger ones still. That said, let's see where the teams have ended up following Week 6. Just the one team cut from the rankings this week, the Clyde Valley Blackhawks tumbled from the rankings following their first loss of the season. It might seem harsh, but even this single loss has dropped them from the top spot in their own conference, which is looking likely to be the most hotly contested conference in the tier. 3 of the 4 teams now sat at 2-1 and holding circular head-to-heads over one another at this point in the year. Some honourable mentions go out to the Staffordshire Surge and Morecambe Bay Storm, who have continued to impress so far this year. For the Surge, we're just waiting to see what they can do against a more competitive outfit before we hand them a ranking. This weekend's matchup against the Chester Romans represents a great opportunity for the Surge to show their mettle. Similarly, Morecambe Bay have really impressed in their rookie season, but their big loss against the Senators has us worried they don't have the resilience to take on the tougher teams in their conference.
10.
The Tigers re-enter the rankings for the first time since their opening loss to the Rednecks. A stout defensive performance against the Blackhawks saw the Tigers earn themselves a top spot in their conference for now. Up next is their recent nemesis, the Roughnecks. A win here would take the Tigers clear in the NFC 2 North, whereas a loss keeps things messy, which also keeps things interesting.
9.
The Bobcats probably really do deserve to climb the rankings following their third straight win and second shutout in 3 games. Still, the issue is that other teams keep putting in more convincing performances, and the Bobcats reside in what is looking like one of the softer conferences in the bottom tier. That said, having been in action since week 4 and with another 3 straight weeks of games coming up, if you discount the weekend off for the BAFA convention, keep on winning and eventually we've got to let them climb.
8.
The Romans fall afoul of a plethora of ranked teams that had big wins at the weekend. They may have posted up their own second 50 burger of the season, but did so once more against the Railroaders side that has struggled so far this year. A big game this weekend against the currently undefeated Surge is a great opportunity for the Romans to march up the ranks once more.
7.
Week by week, the Renegades are looking more and more like the team that won their conference last year. They manhandled and undermanned Hastings Conquerors at the weekend and now have a couple of bye weeks to prepare for a busy mid-season stint while they'll look to stay hot on the tails of the Hertfordshire Cheetahs in the SFC 2 South.
6.
The Revs win, move to 4-0 and yet slide 3 spots? Yes, it seems harsh, but it's less the Revs actually dropping down the rankings than something's got to give as other teams climb higher up the rankings following big wins at the weekend. As it was, their win was more modest than we expected from them. Perhaps they were so impressed by the Houghton Spartans' swanky setup that they didn't get themselves into gear until the second half of the game.
5.
Gateshead slide through inactivity, though we'll be looking for a big win from them again this weekend as they face the Walney Terriers, who've struggled when facing higher calibre teams this year. On an unrelated note, weren't the Senators supposed to be rebranding this season following doing Field Fashion a favour and merging with the Tyndale Fury?
4.
We asked the Apache for a convincing win and they supplied one. We would have liked to have seen a burger from this team, what with its good mix of veterans and talented rookies, but the big matchup of the season for this Bristol side comes in week 8 against the Sharks.
3.
Speaking of, the Sharks are back in the top 3 following a nice away win against the Worcestershire Black Knights. A fairly hefty trip for the Newquay-based side, but they travelled with enough force to shut down the Knights for the majority of the fixture. Back-to-back home games in the Shark Tank follow, and they'll be eyeing the Torbay Trojans in week 7 as a great momentum builder ahead of their huge clash against Bristol in the following week.
2.
And little movement at the top as the Stallions stay put for now. Still, not seeing them again until week 9, odds are a few teams will have eyes on Wembley's number 2 ranking, and a big win or two could easily see them snatch it.
1.
And topping things out, Hertfordshire returned to action this week, hosting a Hastings Conquerors side that was forced to fold at the half in their away trip last weekend. We hope the Conquerors players have recovered and the squad has the numbers to make this fixture go the distance, and ideally more competitive than the 63-0 thumping the Cheetahs handed them in week 1. But most importantly, we hope the side stays safe and what's all the hallmarks of being what might be a rather one-sided matchup. And there you have it, nation. That's what we wound up with when looking at the rankings in this tier. Do you agree? We're fairly certain a good chunk of you don't, so let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember that DC can only keep doing what we do if we have the support of the community. We've got some huge plans to change the way the Britball Nation is able to reach out to the wider sporting community, but we need your help to make them a reality. We're looking for funds to revolutionise our site and make it a true hub for all things Britball, while at the same time ensuring DC is able to become sustainable past the next few months and keep supporting and growing the game. As such, if you're one of the thousands that engages with our content each and every day, we'd really love if you head over to gofundme.com/DBL coverage and spare a $5 or whatever you think 7 days a week of Britball content is worth. Our thanks to those who have stepped up and contributed already, but we're a long way from our goal, so all further support is incredibly appreciated. With that said, remember to play hard, play safe, and quick. Go nag your team media person to ship some highlights over to us for the week 6 highlight video. We've been growing the number of teams involved each week and we want this to be the biggest one yet.